Hello again, and welcome to the final video in this series on Endor Labs policies. So I'm Matt, I'm a solutions architect here at Endor Labs. And so far we've talked about finding policies, action policies, exception policies, and in this video we're going to talk about remediation policies. And this kind of closes the entire loop of actually managing the vulnerabilities and findings that the tool finds, whether that be in SCA, container stack analysis. We're going to close the loop on actually fixing all of these different kinds of findings. Okay. Before I get into what remediations policies are and what they do, we got to talk about remediations in Endor Labs. And what remediations are doing is we're taking the call graphs that we originally built, right, for the vulnerabilities. Hey, my code ends up calling this vulnerable method or function that's associated or inside of the actual third-party dependency that I knowingly or unknowingly bring in, so I can prioritize it, right? So then we thought, okay, what if we take the same call graph technology and apply it towards simulating an upgrade? And it helps answer the question that, I've been asked for years is, well, how do you know that fix isn't going to break my code? And the answer was always, oh, just make the minimal viable upgrade to the non-vulnerable version to reduce the likelihood of a breaking change as much as possible. But none of that is guaranteed, right? So what we're doing is we're taking those same call graphs and we're saying, okay, listen, in this component here, right? You have a few options to upgrade. We recommend this one because not only are you going to fix 3 criticals, 6 highs, 11 mediums, but we also notice that there's no breaking changes here, right? If I go to upgrade, the methods or functions in my code that I wrote aren't calling any of the new methods or functions or changed methods or functions or added methods or functions in this next version if I go to upgrade. So as a developer, the work has already been done of like figuring out, okay, if I do upgrade, yeah, I got to fix these, but also what's going to break my code? What's going to happen if I do? How is this going to affect? That work's already done for you. So now what we can do is we can apply policies catered towards this. And how this looks like is we have a whole section just for remediation policies. And we kind of break out the remediation risk, high, medium, or low. High, there's definitely a breaking change in this new version. So if you go to upgrade to this version, your code's not going to work. It's going to break. Medium is hey, there are some indications that this could break your code. You may want to look into it a little bit more. And low is we don't see any indications of any breaking changes. So what you can do is say, okay, listen, Endor, if you find a bunch of findings and a remediation where the upgrade risk is low, meaning there's no breaking change, it's going to fix any vulnerabilities, right? You could do criticals and highs, but hey, if it's not going to break my code, might as well kind of fix it. Some other indications, other things you may want to take into consideration, but for the purposes of this talk, we'll fix anything. Yeah, I want to exclude test dependencies. You can choose whether or not to, focus on reachable methods and functions and reachable dependencies. That's completely up to you. I'm going to leave it at any. And then only create or trigger this policy when it fixes a minimum number of findings. Like if you, hey, anything 1 or above, or just leave it blank, fix anything, right? Same idea that we've seen throughout all these other policies. I want to send it to Jira. We can open up a pull request for this. But again, we're not just like blindly opening up pull requests or making Jira tickets, right? Oh, there's an upgrade. Here's a pull request. Go fix it. What ends up happening is you get 1,000 pull requests when you log in the morning and you say, what is this? Why do I have 1,000 pull requests to fix all this stuff? That doesn't know if it's going to break it or not, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to be surgical. And it's the same thing with the action policies. We don't want the reaction to one of these open pull requests that fixes these things to be, oh, this is annoying. Let me get around it. I'm just going to close it, whatever. It should be, oh, this is a legit fix. Every time I've actually fixed this using Endor's remediation guidance, it's actually worked and it actually does what it says and it doesn't break all my stuff. So we want the reaction to be kind of taken seriously when they see these. And the only way to do that is to tell them, hey, listen, let's look at it in a Jira ticket, right? Hey, if you upgrade this component from this version to this version, It's going to fix 18 things, including two critical. There's a bunch of reachable functions and methods in there. This is all with one fix, one dependency upgrade. It's going to fix all this stuff, and it's not going to break anything. There's no major version conflicts. There's no breaking changes. And that's great in a Jira ticket. But if we want to automate this into the developer's environment in a pull request that will do this, you can go ahead and do that. So this pull request lays everything out. Hey, there's a PR that updates some dependencies to improve security. This is the dependency that's being upgraded. Here's what we're upgrading from and to. The update risk is low, and they can go ahead and view the details if they want to. But in this example, a different component, it's a little bit different example. We're going to fix one critical, two high, two medium. This is the level of function reachability, dependency reachability, and check this out, no breaking changes. So, of course you always want to test, right? It's another change. You got to test it. But we're providing all of the evidence from beginning to end, right? Finding is raised. There's a call graph. There's evidence of this being used. There's evidence of when you go to upgrade this, it's not going to break your code. Throughout the entire process, we're actually making it easier for people to fix things because we're doing all that research and work that you would do anyway when trying to figure out whether or not to fix something. And we're laying it all out for whether it's a developer or the security team, doesn't really matter. All the information is there for you to go ahead and actually evaluate, ingest, and everything. So it's a really, really nice way to actually automate what a lot of tools like don't really think about is that at the end of the day, these got to get fixed. And the way to fix them is with code. And you don't want to just kind of blast people with alerts and ongoing nonsense because they'll just never get fixed. So we focus on really like what matters, make it easy to do that. Policies are the way to do it. And just to kind of put a final thought on this, we've gone over the finding policy. I need you to find me this thing. The action policy. When you find this thing, I want you to trigger something, do some kind of automation to make my life easier. An exception policy, yeah, those are legit findings. Those are good findings. But in our case, in our environment, they don't apply. They're in triage, whatever have you. Make it flexible, right? And then closing the loop on remediation policy, you've found all these things. And now I need your help actually fixing them and actually providing me a way to automate this and for it to fit into my workflow rather than for us, for the user to fit into our workflow. We don't want that. We want it to be flexible because everybody's so different. So that's policies in Endor Labs. There's an accompanying white paper that will be released with this series of videos. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're more than happy to help. And it's really the policies. My number one takeaway, I think, is it just makes automating a lot of this manual, tough work of fixing things a lot easier and a lot more streamlined. And once you have it in, customers just kind of set it and forget it, and they have their workflow down to a T. And the last, very last final thought I'll give is just a reminder of we have a bunch of big fintech customers, but one of them was able to reduce their security related Jira tickets for their developers from about 2,500 security related Jira tickets down to 140. And as a former developer, if that's not developer friendly for somebody, then I don't know what is. Less Jira tickets always mean developer friendly. So thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I hope you have a great day. Take care.